Alright folks, post here, welcome back to another Pokemon video, and today we're going to go over some grid builds for Torterra, right? So, Torterra is an interesting Pokemon that it could actually do pretty well offensively, even despite being a support, right? Which is pretty cool, right? But another protagonist, grass type starter being a support. What else is new, right? and female protagonist, grass type starter, right? Brendan has Sceptile, but it's a striker. He's a dude. Lyra, Rosa. Am I missing anyone? Dawn, all supports for some reason. But yeah, anyways, oh, Six Suit Leaf could also be a support. Oh, please. Um, supports are good. It's just I don't know. It's kind of weird that they do this. But yeah, supports are definitely among the better units in type of units in the game at the moment, right? Just because of the of what we're facing, how the meta has changed, right? But anyways, for Dawn Torterra, just a really quick overview. Good tanky stats, all that stuff. Razor Leaf, which has +1 in crit. X defense all good as new, which is basically a full restore, but only has one use. C-Bomb, 100 power, 100 accuracy, 3 gauge, no additional effects. More the user's attack has been raised, the greater the power of the move. New Dawn Woodhammer, that's their sync move, 200 power. And then Power Siphon 9, which lowers the attack and raises the user's attack by an equal amount when the user is hit by an attack move. So that's really good for increasing your own attack and decreasing the opponent's attack. And then you also have Vigilance. So as for her Sync Grid, there's a lot of good options here, right? But I don't think her grid's that great though. Like there are some really good stuff, right? Got 2 X defense all MP refreshes, and you got healthy healing, which is really nice. But like everything else is kind of like if you look at like the bottom left part of the grid, like none of these are like bad. There you could find niche uses, but like is any of them like anything crazy though, right? So Dawn's grid, I'm not a huge fan of, to say the least. And also, she doesn't have MP refresh on her full restore, which is kind of lame. But also, I do understand it would be like incredibly overpowered if she actually had it. But anyways, let's get into some builds. Let's start out with 1 out of 5, right? So 1 out of 5, you don't have too many options here. Probably if you're using it as a support, you want to pick up Razor Leaf, Move Gauge Refresh 100%, right? And then pick up X Defense All, MPR, and then that's basically all you need. That's the bare minimum. Don't have to spend too many Sync Orbs on her, right? This is a really, super budget build, obviously. If you do have Sync Orbs to spend on her, you could expand that. Throw in, some defensive stats, all that stuff. If you want this as well, you could pick that, right? It's Friendly Shield gives +1 defense, right? There as well, or there's another interpretation where it's like a continuous thing that could increase defense, and we'll see. But I really don't think it's gonna be that, just because it's only like 8 energy and it's like at 1 out of 5. But hey, either way, you could pick that up, right? And then also again, just more stat nodes, and then none of these are really relevant unless you want to like do some damage with her. She won't be doing much damage at 1 out of 5, unfortunately, but like if you really want to, you go here, pick C-Bomb up, and then pick the extra 10 attack here as well. But yeah, again, at 1 out of 5, you don't have too many options, right? So moving on to 2 out of 5, you got a few things, right? You do have both X defense, MP refreshes, so that's really good. You still got Razor Leaf, MP refresh, so you got to pick that up as well. And that's basically it. So the 2 out of 5 in comparison to 1 out of 5, mainly you're just picking up that extra one, that extra X defense MP refresh, which is really good, right? But again, you're not getting any of the other juicy stuff. Again, this is just bare minimum you want to pick up, right? And if you want any other stuff, just some defenses maybe, not that attack +30, which is a lot, but yeah. Anyways, picking up some other stuff. There you go. Again, if you want that, you can pick that up. If you don't care for that, then whatever, right? Depends on if you want that or the extra 10 HP. Pump up, I personally don't. I mean, it depends, I guess. If you're running it with something like a Garchomp, And you know, when you're doing more on your sync move than what a Garchomp would potentially bring to the table, right? Because Garchomp probably wants to spam Earthquake instead of you know, using its sync move after it goes Mega. Then you maybe pick up Pump Up, right? Drop one of these stat nodes. But otherwise, again, none of these are really extremely interesting. As for damage, obviously just go down, pick up all these, and then you potentially pick up Pecking Order as well. The more the attack is low, the target's attack is low, the more it powers up sync moves. Keep in mind, Siphon 9 does decrease your opponent's attack every time they attack you, so you could get their attack to relatively to -6 relatively easily, especially if you're using this in the Legendary Arena, which is why, like I mentioned before in the Dawn showed you some video, I do think that Dawn is more situated to be used in the Legendary Arena, right? Just because there's only one Pokemon that attacks you over and over again, and thus it's really easy to get their attack to -6 really quickly, right? So there's that, and yeah, let's move on to 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5 is where she gets healthy healing, which is again what you want most in her grid, right? But like even at 3 out of 5, you could see relatively easily that this grid doesn't have much to offer. That's all you need, honestly. That's all you need at 3 out of 5. Again, you could pick up Quick Cure, right? It's good to have. It's not necessary, right? But Quick Cure is definitely an option there as well. If you want, or if you need, I'd say. So then, if you want, if you need, pecking or not pecking order, Precision Pals. If you have a unit on your team that has low accuracy that needs accuracy, you could go do that as well. It raises the accuracy of all allied sync pairs when you use Good as New, which is really nice, right? So you could use that. Precision Pals, stuff like a Feraligatr, Dragonite, whatever, something with low accuracy, relatively low accuracy. Main character Charizard, main character Blastoise, right? Stuff like that. Infernape maybe. There's some units that do need some accuracy, right? Not the biggest deal in the world, but would help. Blue maybe, because actually, 2 Smilators don't actually get you to 100% accuracy, unfortunately. But yeah, that definitely helps. But if you don't need it, then there's obviously no point to pick it up. Otherwise, if you're running it in a Sand team, you could use Sands of Time, with Garchomp, or you could go like Pump Up as well. That's something, again, if you're running with a Mega that doesn't do much damage on its sync move, where it's probably better just to use someone else's sync move instead, right? That's another option. So that's for its support mainly. Again, these are just the bare bones that you need, and basically all you need. If you don't need any of the other stuff, then obviously just pick up some stat nodes, right? Let's not pick up the plus attack stat node. But if you do want to make Torterra a DPS into a DPS build, you kind of need 3 out of 5. But at 3 out of 5, you actually do have a lot of options to substantially increase Torterra's attack, right? So you go up here, you could pick up Tough Cookie, which the more users defense have been raised, more powers up moves, right? You get +4 from your X defense all, right? But you don't have any to pick up NP refresh, so that's the most you get out of that. And then go down here, the Seed Bomb stuff, Seed Bomb move gauge refresh. I don't think you need Pure Sentry, since you just increase your attack passively anyways. Or if you're using Torterra as a damage dealer, you probably are going to use a support anyways, like stuff like a Phoebe or whatever, right? Phoebe, maybe Sabrina or Torchic. So yeah, no point picking up Fear Sentry in my opinion, right? Either if you're supporting it, or without supports, again, Torterra would get their attack up eventually, right? So you probably want Pecking Order. The more the target's attack is lower, more powers up sync moves, and that compared with or in addition to the new Dawn Woodhammer, how it works, more the attack is raised, more the greater power of the move. You're going to get a lot of buffs on that, right? And then with the 12 left, you could pick up 2 sync move nodes here, right? Which is nice. Or if you don't care about syncing with Torterra, I don't want to sync with that, you could obviously, you don't have to pick that up. You could pick up an extra X defense all MP refresh, and you could also pick up this extra attack plus 30 node, right? Which will put you like more damage than Ethan does have special attack, right? Which is pretty cool. Such sad for Ethan, but yeah, you could do that. I wouldn't recommend Power Reserve 5. It is a 50% damage boost, but like Power Reserve is just so bad, right? Especially if you're Torterra, which you probably might be also tanking while you're the DPS. I don't know. It depends on what team you're building, right? Probably not. Maybe a secondary tank, right? At least. So yeah, those are definitely some options you go with if you're running Torterra in a sand team, as a damage dealer, which I wouldn't recommend. You could also go ahead pick up Sands of Time over here as well, right? Otherwise, pump up if you need that. If you're not running a sand team, want some more move gauge because Torterra is slow, right? Of all the upsides for Torterra, the one big downside for Torterra, well, I wouldn't say one big downside. One of its downsides is its slow speed, right? So you probably want that pump up, or again, Sands of Time, depending on what team you're running in for more gauge support, right? For Torterra. But yeah, this is basically the bare bone of a DPS build. Everything else just depends on what you're facing, what you're trying to do, right? Again, pick that up. You could do that. You could do this. You could do, again, go down with this or that, right? So anyways, Torterra, interesting unit, not a very interesting grid, unfortunately. Again, like I mentioned before, not too much to consider in its grid. It's pretty straightforward grid. A lot of stuff aren't really too worth doing. A lot of people have been talking about Razor Leaf Eagle's Eye. I wouldn't bother, honestly. It's a 20% chance of raising your crit on Razor Leaf, which you probably, if you really want to use Torterra for DPS, just use someone else above its crit, right? Just use someone else above its crit. It's you're wasting turns on Razor Leaf where you could be doing damage instead. Just don't. Plus, a lags game. Although I did hear people say that Razor Leaf's lag is not as bad anymore. So let me know since the update probably fixed it. That would be really, really nice. But yeah, anyways, that's what this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like if you enjoyed this video, or on your channel for some more Pokemon Master content. Again, I will be summoning for Torterra later today when the banner drops. As soon as it drops, I will be summoning for Torterra. So yeah, I'll see you guys at the stream then.